Hi everybody, Kirsty, Goddess of Neptune here. Hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world. Bringing you this special astrology report today, 16th of May 2023. For those of you not aware, today, 16th of May, is day one of the Cannes Film Festival in France. And today, for those of you not aware, this film festival will be kicked off by Johnny Depp's new film, Jeanne du Barry. Apologies for those of you who can speak fluent French. This is my attempt at the accent. But this film is a biographical film based on King Louis XV and his favourite, played, of course, by Maywen. I think I've pronounced that correctly. So this is a big deal because this is his first film, since the trial that, perhaps we shall not talk about. But it's a big deal because, this is back in the limelight in terms of movies. Of course, he's been doing his musical appearances with now the late Jeff Beck, but certainly was on tour with him. He's gearing up for the tour with the Hollywood Vampires. I'm super excited about that myself because I'm going to see them perform. But that aside, this is about the film industry. And we know that, and it's been, publicised, that of course he did experience some challenges, let's just say, with regards to the film industry in view of what surrounded the trial, the publicity that surrounded the trial. So whatever we might think of Mr. Johnny Depp, whatever we might think of that situation, this is just an astrology report that I felt guided to share with you, because when I looked at his chart and the Cannes Film Festival as an event today, the day it kicks off, quite interesting. So let's bring it up. And of course, today being the 16th of May, Mercury is now direct. Yes, we're out of retrograde. We're still in post-shadow phase, but Jupiter will be moving into Taurus as well. So this offers great expansion when it comes to our worth and values. Let me bring the chart up and I will draw you to some things that I found quite interesting. Okay, so hopefully you can see that chart and you may be able to see some yellow lines that I've marked up, which is to remind me of what I was drawn to when I looked at this earlier. So with this astrology chart, we've got two wheels. We've got the inner wheel, which is Johnny Depp's natal chart. This is based on the information that's in the public domain. And then the outer wheel is a snapshot of the cosmos for the Cannes Film Festival. Now, it's going on for quite a while, the Cannes Film Festival, but I'm only interested in today, to be honest with you, when it kicks off, because of the big deal around this premiere. And I've put the time of 6 p.m. French time, which is Central European time, if I've got that right. So apply your own time zones as appropriate. This is based on the transits in France, in Cannes, at the time. And I chose 6 p.m. because I'm sure I read somewhere that 6 p.m. was the red carpet. But of course, I could have just plucked that time out of the air. I was guided to it for some reason. And when I looked at the charts, this is probably why. So Johnny Depp's chart is the middle wheel, the inner wheel, and the transits are the outer wheel. Okay, so it's a freeze frame of the cosmos at this time. Okay, and look at what we've got here straight away at the top. 10th house. 10th house is the house of work. It can also relate to inner authority, but we've got the sun. Okay, so the sun is in Taurus at the moment, 25 degrees, because we'll soon be in Gemini, but sun is in Taurus, 25 degrees, and is conjunct exactly with Johnny's Mercury at 25 degrees. The minutes might be different, but this is a freeze frame at this moment in time, and the degrees are the same. So 25 degrees. So the sun, this massive force up in the sky, is heightening the energy when it comes to Johnny's communication and expression, Mercury, in his 10th house of work. Okay, this film is part of his work, and he is an actor. He is portraying a part. He is expressing a character that is very mercurial energy. And the sun is heightening this. So there is big emphasis on this part that he is expressing through his work. Well, that makes complete sense, doesn't it? Because his film, all eyes are going to be on this film because it's opening the Cannes Film Festival, and it's a big deal because he's back on the screens. you know, since the trial. So this is heightening that energy. Not only that, in the 10th house, we've also got, admittedly, he's got his Venus there, which is his divine feminine nurturing energy, along with his Mercury. But in terms of the planets and the asteroids up in the sky, you know, as well as the sun, we've got Uranus, the planet of change. So this is change also because, you know, he's back in the limelight when it comes to films. As my throat chakra tries to close up there. So that's about expression, isn't it? Now, we've also got Vesta there, which is divine feminine energy. And we've got Juno right on the cusp of the 10th house in Gemini, but still in Johnny's 10th house when it comes to looking at these charts together. So there is divine feminine energy supporting what's going on with the planets, you know, the big energy that's going on with the planets. There's nurturing to this. And Vesta particularly is that sacred flame energy, akin to Goddess Bridget. This is about what really sparks the fire within, the creative force. Well, this is one of his forms of creative expression, of course. So it's enhancing that energy. And Mercury himself is also in the 10th house. So not only have we got Mercury in Johnny's 10th house, we've got Mercury in the 10th house transiting through at this time with the North Node, which represents purpose and truth. So a lot of energy going on around expression. And with the Taurus energy that's here, this is about worth and values, knowing one's worth, knowing one's values, being rooted and grounded in that. And we have here the sun amplifying this expression when it comes to his inner authority, his purpose, the change and expression when it comes from a place of worth and values. So that was quite profound when I saw that, because of the exact conjunction with the sun. The sun is a massive force, and this is really enhancing the soul essence energy of the cosmos when it comes to his expression through his work. And this is what's going on at this time. So it's a big deal. In the 9th house, we can see we've got the moon. So at that point, the moon will be in Aries. Okay. And we have got a new moon coming up, which is towards the end of the week. But for now, this freeze frame, the moon is in Aries. So there is empowerment within emotions here. And the moon can help, okay, particularly with regards to Johnny and what he's going through, because this is going to be a big moment for him as well. But the moon, having that fire energy within the moon, can help us with our motivations, because it's that sort of, you know, from our sovereignty, getting things done, being motivated to take action, and having that motivation within our feelings to do that. Admittedly, the moon is conjunct Chiron, also in Aries. So there is that element of it challenging the wounds when it comes to our sovereignty. Okay, and that's on a collective level. But of course, we're looking at it here in relation to Johnny Depp's chart. So that energy is going on. And we've also got Jupiter there at 29 degrees at this moment in time. So bearing in mind, this is 6 p.m. Central European time. Okay, and in fact, an hour and 12 minutes, I think it is after. It's either an hour and 12 minutes or an hour and 21 minutes. I'm just checking. Sorry, an hour and 21 minutes, because it will be 19:21 Central European time. Okay, Jupiter will be moving into Taurus. So all of that energy that's going on in his 10th house is going to be further amplified. You know, within a couple of hours, certainly, it's going to be amplified by Jupiter moving into Taurus as well, expanding when it comes to worth and values, expansive opportunities. And there is hope to Jupiter as well. Remember, Jupiter can expand negative and positive. But sorry, we've got the sun here, you know, in Taurus with Uranus heightening that change within expression. Mercury is now direct, and the North Node, and Jupiter is going to amplify all of that in his house of work. So the moon being in Aries can support that motivation, with just that little side note of the Chiron wounds, because of what's happened in the recent past, to still remain focused on the mission ahead. for this film festival and what it stands for in this moment. Because we've got, you know, Johnny Depp's got Jupiter in his 9th house in his natal chart. So when it comes to the 9th house of beliefs, this is about believing in himself as that sovereign being, because it's in Aries. So he needs to believe in himself as that warrior, as that sovereign, strong soul. The moon will heighten that energy. Jupiter will, of course, expand his Jupiter to bring that hope, with just that little side note of the Chiron element, because we've been on a healing journey. We have in the collective, you know, we're being called for transformation, and he's not immune to that. He's part of the global collective. So there's just that little note about Chiron wounds, because the moon at that point is exactly conjunct Chiron at 18 degrees. Okay, but he can use his emotions to empower him, to drive him forward, to motivate him, if he believes in himself as that sovereign being, and also believes and knows his worth, because of all of that energy in Taurus that I've just mentioned in his 10th house of work and inner authority. This is about summoning the power. And when I mention power, what we have here in the 8th house, the house of power, as I like to think of it as, we've got his Chiron. Okay, so his healing journey in this lifetime relates to his power. Now, we could look at what's been going on with him in the recent past without going into details, obviously. And that is true, because his power has been challenged beyond belief. So that is very true, that this is something he's had to heal in this lifetime. His past Fortuna, his pot of fortune, is also in the 8th house. So his fortune lies in his power, both of which are in Pisces. That's that ethereal, mystical, magical sign, the spiritual sign of Pisces. There's light and dark to everything. Okay, that's life. So deception, illusion, confusion is part of that. And his healing journey has involved navigating through that in order to reclaim his power, because this is connected to his healing journey. And Saturn at 6 degrees of Pisces is conjunct, not exact, but conjunct within 2 degrees of his pot of fortune. So Saturn doesn't mess around. Saturn stands for rules, structure, order, can rule time, and also karma. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is we've got Saturn, who is now in Pisces, who moved into Pisces on the 7th of March. So he's been in Pisces a couple of months now. But when he moved into Pisces, the house of the divine, he was like, hiya, I'm in Pisces now. Have you learnt those lessons of the past 3 years? Well, I would say Mr. Depp probably has learnt a lot of lessons in the past 3 years. And this is what's empowering him in his healing journey to move forward, and why we've got all this energy now at this pivotal moment for him in his 10th house of inner authority and work. But Saturn is calling for structure when it comes to power, but also bringing karmic returns. Let's be real here. Saturn's in Pisces, the house of the divine, spiritual truth, soul truth. He's been fighting for the truth for a long time, and justice has prevailed, but it's, I'm sure, not been without its challenges. Okay, regardless of what you may or may not think about what's going on. This is Saturn bringing karmic returns now, being in Pisces, conjunct his pot of fortune in his house of power. This is about Johnny Depp reclaiming his power, people. Okay, that's what I would say to that, based on spiritual alignment with the divine spiritual truth. And it's been connected to his healing journey. So that's something he's had to find from deep within his soul, Pisces energy. And Chiron up in the sky, you know, known as the wounded warrior, represents our healing. is there just to kind of be there to say, look, you know, these emotions, when we think of the moon again being in Aries, these emotions are coming up. You've got to own your power. You need to take your power back. This is the moment. And that's what he's being called to do from a soul level. Okay, and I'm just going to look at the first house. The first house represents the self. And we've got Lilith here. Okay, Lilith is a great teacher, can bring up wounds, can bring up doubt, can bring up the shadow side, is known as the dark feminine energy. So all of this going on within his inner authority up there in the 10th house, and the empowerment that he's going to be feeling from that Aries energy and that expansion within his 9th house, he's had to discover or rediscover who he is. You know, the 9th house is about beliefs, but also about learning and discovery. He's had to learn a lot. And this is what's empowering his inner authority and his work at the moment, and allowing Saturn to bring karmic returns on top of his pot of fortune in his 8th house of power. So Lilith is just bringing up a few things, because Leo is the sign of, you know, represents the sun, of course, in tarot, but that expressive energy of the soul, you know, that joy, that abundance, being seen. Okay, and we know that Johnny Depp's got a Leo rising, so his social personality is one of being seen, and it can be misunderstood because it can come across as quite arrogant, quite cocky, you know, quite overly confident. But there is depth to him. Okay, and the Leo rising is certainly something that helps his kind of showbiz lifestyle, if you like, because it is about being seen. Now, the first house of the self is all about the self, and that's where his Mars is, so that masculine energy, but his Uranus is also there as well. So almost like a constant evolution of self when it comes to his masculine energy. Look at the kind of characters he's played in the various films he's had. He's had to evolve, but that's been within characters. This is about evolution of self when it comes to his masculine energy. And Lilith is there in Leo, in his first house, maybe just saying, are you sure you feel good enough for this moment? Are you sure? I'm just going to bring up some shadows. I'm going to bring up some of that stuff that you've been going through over the past few years. And are you sure you're worth it? Are you sure you're worth it? And the answer, Lilith, is yes, I am worth it, because look at all that energy I've got going on in my 10th house, and I'm feeling empowered and motivated because this is part of my healing journey, and it's a transformative time for me to have this moment. So thanks, Lilith. You know, I appreciate you. You are a great teacher, but I've shown that I can evolve. I've shown that my masculine energy can evolve with the support of Pallas, which is divine feminine energy. So there is balance there as well. But thanks for showing me that, because that's helping my healing journey. That's helping me evolve even more. You know, it's just a little, again, it's a little side note, just like the moon being conjunct Chiron. It's a little side note that Lilith is just there to just, you know, if there are any doubts coming up, quite possibly could be coming from Lilith energy because of the self. It's almost questioning the self in terms of that warrior self. But I'm afraid to say, or not afraid, that Jupiter, at this moment in time, of course, because we know Jupiter's moving into Taurus, but Jupiter in Aries, the moon, Chiron, this is his empowerment. This is time for his empowerment through his emotions and the expansion of that sovereign energy. So that is going to poo-poo Lilith. Sorry, that's, you know, that's going to defeat Lilith in that case. But thanks, Lilith, great teacher. So just to kind of, you know, bring that to some kind of explanation, really, in terms of my interpretations of it. The other thing I wanted to just bring up as well, without going too deep into it, is the 10th house that I've been talking about is opposite the 4th house. So the 10th house of work is opposite the 4th house of foundations and family. It can be the family house, if you like. And he's got an exact conjunction going on there, 13 degrees, with his Neptune and his Lilith. So I've just mentioned Lilith. And we have the South Node in that house as well, because it's opposite the North Node, of course, in the 10th house. And the North Node is that truth, that purpose, almost like guiding light. And the South Node can represent sort of illusion. It can also bring up past life stuff. And what I was drawn to with that is the fact that, you know, Lilith conjunct Neptune is going to bring up the shadow side of Neptune. And that is that sort of deception, illusion. So everything going on in his 10th house has that opposition energy with the 4th house. So that can be challenging, but it can be used to one's advantage if there's awareness of it. But this says to me that karmic stuff, South Node, possibly past life related as well, that's had to be cleansed, relating to family, relating to dark feminine energy that has been deceptive and illusionary, has challenged his inner authority, has challenged his house of work. Well, that's a bit of a given, isn't it? Because that's been playing out recently. So that's where, and he's got that in his natal chart with Neptune and Lilith. So he needs to really trust his discernment, okay, when it comes to sort of, you know, family interactions, and also foundations, wanting to have a foundation that is not built on deception or lies or shadows, okay, light and dark with everything, okay, that's life. But with the South Node there as well, admittedly on the cusp of the 4th house, but still in the 4th house, is bringing up even more, is heightening the illusory energy. So when Lilith is there in the 1st house saying, are you sure you're worth this? Are you sure you're that sovereign self that can achieve all of this? And, you know, looking at this from the point of view of Johnny Depp with this chart, I would be saying yes, because all that energy in my 10th house is empowering me, especially having the sun there. Okay, this is supportive soul essence energy of the universe on my expression through my work. And that's going to allow me to defeat those inner demons regarding deceptive feminine energy in my foundations that have been illusions, have caused confusion. The shadow energy of Neptune, remember, because Lilith is right there, heightening that energy of Neptune. And it's the shadow side, it's the dark feminine side. But he's able to bring forth the sovereign energy of Aries, the expansive energy of Jupiter, knowing that this has been part of his healing journey, and that empowerment of self that comes through getting through those obstacles and those challenges. And then having the karmic rewards of Saturn, reclaiming his power with his pot of fortune in the 8th house, still connected to his healing journey. This has all been part of his healing journey, but he's reaping the benefits of this now because of that spiritual alignment with the truth, with the divine truth. Okay, but the sun, powerful, that is powerful. Exact conjunction with his Mercury in his house of work today. Well, I'm excited to see what happens after this, and I hope that it gets picked up by other, you know, film distributors, and it gets spread more widely, to be honest with you. But it's a big deal. It's going to be a big moment. And I will say as well that, you know, his 6th house of daily routines and schedules can also relate to well-being as well. But Pluto, that's where Pluto is, and Pluto is currently retrograde. So Pluto is calling for transformation, of course, and is in his 6th house. So this is about transforming his daily routines, his schedules. This might be where his evolution of self needs to come into it, because things might need to change, how he's going to navigate his life going forward, you know, coming out of that sort of healing journey aspect. You know, we're always evolving, of course, we're always on some kind of healing journey because we're always evolving. But as he's ascended through, he's reaping these karmic rewards now, absolutely. And there's just all this light over there, which is just emphasizing that feeling to me that this is a big moment for him to reclaim his power. So I'm super excited, you know, to see what happens afterwards. And yeah, ongoing. I would say it's a big moment, but again, not everybody's going to necessarily agree with that. You know, not everybody follows astrology, not everybody likes astrology. This is based on what I can see in the charts and my intuitive interpretations of that. So, you know, if you're not particularly interested in what Johnny Depp does, then that's fine. If you are, that's also fine. I hope you found it useful, but this is definitely where astrology can show you these pivotal moments, okay, and the energy around that, the supporting energy around that. There's certainly that going on. He just needs to be mindful of any doubts that might be popping up relating to those deceptive, illusionary kind of things that have been going on as part of his healing journey. This is his time to reclaim his power. So I wanted to just bring that to you as a special report. I will be covering Jupiter moving into Taurus in a separate report, but yeah, until the next time, take care everybody, and let's see what happens at Cannes Film Festival. Thanks everybody for watching. Take care.